So we're going to let our user create PS menu group items in our menu. So let's create that custom directive. I'll go into External Modules, PS Menu, and we already have a PS menu item directive, and the group directive will be somewhat similar. Let's create that. We'll call it PS menu group directive. We'll make sure that we use the PS menu module, and we'll specify a name for the directive, PS menu group. And for the directive definition object, just like we did with items, we want to require the controller from the PS menu. And we know that we're going to be using transclusion, so we'll set that to true. We're also going to want an isolate scope, and we're passing in the label, and that's a one-way binding as a string, and the icon is the same. Now looking at the item directive, we also are sending the route, but we don't need to do that for the grouping. If we click on a group, that'll just open up any included elements. If you wanted to add a route, you could, but in this case, I'm leaving it out. And let's also specify a template for this custom directive. So we're setting it to external modules, PS menu group template.html, and we'll create that shortly. The last thing we'll need is a link function. We'll leave this blank for now, but just remember that we're going to need the controller, which is the controller of the PS menu. So let's go ahead and create this HTML file. It's called PS menu group template.html. And this is going to be part of our menu, so we need to create a list item for it. And it's going to be a little bit similar to a regular item. So let's take a look at that template. I'll copy this, and I'll use that instead. So the list item itself has a class of PS selectable item. That'll help format it similar to the other items. And we don't want to actually select the text, so we'll set a PS no select class. And that doesn't prevent a click, it just prevents the text from being highlighted. And we also add in our I tag for the font awesome icon and the label. And icon and label are being passed through to our isolate scope. Then we close out the div, and we want to be able to click on this group, but we don't need it to show as active. So I'll delete the PS menu active indicator item. So the big difference between this group item and a regular item is that we're going to need to transclude all of its sub-items. So let's create a div, and in the middle of it, we'll create an unordered list for the submenu, and this is where we can add our ng transclude. So this is our item that can be clicked on, and once clicked, it'll show this div as it opens up the menu. So let's add our new directive to index.html. Here's our PS menu item directive, so we'll add the group directive right after that. And let's go back to the PS menu group directive, and I actually named this wrong. It should just be ext instead of external. Let's see what we get when we run it. So we have our original 3 selectable items, then we get to the grouping, which we can't select, and that's fine. We haven't added any of the logic to open and close this yet. But when we do open it, it should show these next 3 items, rafts, paddles, and life vests. So we need to style this better. Equipment should have some kind of arrow or indicator showing whether it's open or closed. So we'll add that. And we also want to indent these 3 items so that they show up under equipment. And we'll add that styling in the next video.